This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
1, 2, 3. Lovely.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Master Edition live on Facebook. Tonight we have with us the lovely Tanja van Kooij from Aruna Yoga Maastricht. She'll be telling us all about how to stay stretchy and zen. And we'll have our usual fun and games of This Day in History, Matt Goes Dutch, and Tracy Tidbits, so stay tuned.
Yay! Good evening, everybody. Well, sorry. Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the Maastricht edition. That was terrible.
It was a kind of, oh my God.
Yeah. I had to justify the hat. I'm trying to justify the hat. The reason I have the hat on, people, is because I think it's tomorrow is International Country and Western Music Day. There you go. So, no, we're not going to be line dancing for you. Oh, I can hear the groans. The people are just wailing with disappointment. But no line dancing. But we will be getting bendy later. We're going to be getting bendy with Tanja from Aruna Yoga. So that's worth staying around for. Me trying to get into a downward dog is always a delight for anybody that's tuning in. But yes, I've got my cowboy hat on, and Matt's got his cowboy shirt on, and
I got my John Denver LP. That was
look at him!
Magically delivered up the stairs. Look at
Oh
that.
my goodness, look at him!
Yeah, there we go. Quite the classic album. So I do like a little bit of the country music, So there you go. This is and I'm also embracing yoga with my yoga top and my little bracelet. So I'm doing both themes this evening.
I wonder if you can combine yoga with country and Western music. We'll have to ask Tanja.
I don't think so.
There is a great yoga teacher online called Adrienne, and she's from Texas, and she sounds very country Western.
Okay,
so sort of combined.
Maybe. Yes, indeed. Well, I wonder if she's as good as Tanja, though.
Wow.
I'm biased because she is my yoga teacher. So.
Oh, it's all coming out now. Maybe Tanja can tell us something about how bendy Tracy is, actually.
Maybe she can. Let's see later,
Oh, Tanja. Spill the beans. Actually, that outfit that John Denver had on there, I think, Matt, you should try something like that.
What is it?
It's double denim.
It's denim jacket, denim jeans, I think.
It's double denim.
Yeah.
I can
very
do that.
funky belts. Yeah, you could do that.
I think it's in fashion again, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, did it ever go out?
I know about these things, obviously. I mean, just look at me. I'm a fashion guru. Should. Actually, I was invited to the Met Gala this week, but I just couldn't make it, unfortunately. I had other commitments. Otherwise, I would have been there just showing off all my fashionable hats. Actually, this is too hot. I have to take it off. Well, the hot flush is coming on. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, how are you two? Is everybody well?
I'm good. We've been enjoying the changeable weather. Lovely one moment, heavy torrential rain the next. But it is the Netherlands. I was glad of the nice weather compared to the summer we had. It's nice to have a bit of sun.
In September is traditionally can be pretty decent weather though in September. So it has been warm without being too hot and sticky. It has been very pleasant and sunny and bright. So I spent a couple of hours in the garden today even. So that's quite nice. Yes. So not bad for the 16th of September.
That's very nice, very nice. I've actually thinking of the yoga theme. I used to do a bit of yoga outside actually, and it's nice in this kind of weather. Yoga in this weather is good weather, and getting bendy in the garden when it's too hot and sweaty, you just end up getting into positions that don't really like. So if it's a little bit cooler and not too sticky. Mind you, I think that's probably my mantra for most things in life. I like it cooler and not too sticky.
Right. Well, there you go. That's another T-shirt, I expect. So I'll write that one down.
But thinking about the country and Western theme, obviously, yes, the music, it kind of spreads, not just country Western, it kind of includes all kinds of genres in it as well. But the one thing that they do have, of course, which is very popular, is line dancing. And I'm wondering if either of you two guys have tried a bit of line dancing.
Yes.
Oh, Tracy, come on.
I have not tried line dancing.
Oh, so I've done line dancing, Matt's done line dancing, Tracy, I feel that we're going to have to do this as a team building exercise.
Indeed. I think I wouldn't be too bad. I did do dance theatre and stuff, so I've got a bit of rhythm going on.
Oh, we know she's bendy, Matt. We know
well, there you go. Downward facing dog all the way. But
I was terrible at line dancing.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I get really confused because they're like, do this, then do that, do this. And then like, what was I supposed to do?
So when you're doing a grapevine to the left, everyone's doing a grapevine to the right.
Oh, that's
the wrong way around, yeah. Normally.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, I tell you, being from Ireland, we have something called the Siege of Ennis, which is like Kaylee dancing on steroids. It's like you could lose your life out on the dance floor. It's all these where you kind of join up and you go in the same direction, similar to line dancing, back and forward, you know. I tell you, if you can survive that, Matthew, I have hope for you with the line dancing. The Siege of Ennis.
I've never heard of that.
Well, you see. But yeah, this is something we could also do as a team event maybe one time. I'll have to see if there's any Irish Kaylee dancing out there. Great fun. Drinking a pint of Guinness beforehand is obligatory and probably necessary.
Is that a good idea? Like,
yeah.
Heavy Guinness and spinning around. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I haven't actually seen any line dancing in Maastricht, so I'm going to put a shout out there that if there's anybody out there who goes line dancing, do let us know. We want to get Matt out there doing his thing, and Tracy for sure. She's a cowgirl at heart.
Yeehaw, people, yeehaw.
Now, many years ago, I did work at a hoedown.
Oh, good Lord.
So I used to get dressed up as a cowgirl every night. And
Whoa. We haven't passed the watershed yet, Joe. Are you allowed to share this story? I fear the worst.
Don't get confused with the sort of cowgirls that you've seen in particular films of a weekend, Tracy. No, I was all dressed up, a proper cowgirl with me hat and cowboy boots and everything, and used to do some line dancing lessons, and it was all good fun. But they had a bucking bronco at the hoedown, and I was always volunteered to show from an instructional perspective how to use the bucking bronco or how not to use the bucking bronco. And this is how yours truly ended up with whiplash.
Oh. Wow, enough said there. They're dangerous. I see, if you go to the US, you often see these bronco things in just your regular pub and stuff.
Yes, I know. Yes, and they look harmless. They do until you get on, and it looks like you're not going very fast until you're on it, and then all of a sudden you're whizzing round, and after you've had a couple of beers as well, it all starts going a little bit wrong. And and when I come off, of course, I have the elegance of an African elephant, and it always it amuses the crowds, which is probably why I was volunteered so many times.
Oh gosh.
But yes, it's not pretty.
I'll stick to the line dancing. I think I'll leave the bronco action for for you, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for that. Well, one good thing I must say before we move on is that I was working at a hoedown long before there were camera phones. So there is no evidence of this out there at all. What a shame.
Oh, disaster.
Yeah, now I've said that and I put it out there in public. Somebody's going to start sending me
pictures. Have a camcorder ready.
Yeah, they're going to have. Somebody's going to have some pictures there somewhere, aren't they? That they've got some. Oh dear. Anyway.
Facebook.
So, ladies and gentlemen out in Maastricht land, we do have lots coming up this evening. We've got This Day in History, we've got Matt Goes Dutch, we've got Titty Bitties, we've got a competition to announce later on in the show as well. But before we get there, I do believe our Matt has a little announcement to make.
Yes, I do. I'm leaving. Yeah, sadly, everyone, I am leaving the Maastricht edition as of next month, probably, because I'm returning to the UK. So yeah, it's quite sad actually, because obviously me and Tracy started the Maastricht edition. What was it? 4 or 5 years ago now? 4 years ago. Where did the time go?
Where did it go?
Yeah, so even though I probably could do it remotely via online like we do now, it seems a bit of a stretch because I'm no longer in the Netherlands, no longer part of Maastricht. So I think it's my time to depart. And I will occasionally pop in, I'm sure.
Of course you will. You'll be one of our fabulous guests who join us on the show.
A remote guest.
Nice.
Your UK correspondent. If you know anything about the UK.
But you've got a fabulous new job to go to, haven't you, Matt?
I do. I'm going to be working in a modern art museum, which is very exciting. So I'm really looking forward to that. So it's going to be really cool, but it is quite sad and also really stressful leaving the country. Who knew it was so difficult?
Well, there you go. But you've been here for quite some years, I guess. So that you can't just sort of, it will take time to flip back and pack and relocate and, all this kind of thing. Plus, you've got a new job to get on board with as well. So there's lots of stuff to handle right now. But we shall miss you for sure, of course. But
I will miss the show every week. It'd be really strange not seeing you guys every week.
What will you do with your Thursday evening?
I know.
You're like, oh my God.
Well, just be watching us instead.
You might do.
Yeah, so we've got a few more weeks of you. So we'll make the most of you while you're still here. Which includes, of course, Matt's review. Because that's an integral part of our Thursdays, and of course between Tracy and I, our musical education of Matt we've got for the next few weeks before he leaves us, and it was Tracy's choice to pick an album for Matt to review for this week. So, Tracy, could you remind everybody what album you chose for Matt to review?
Yes, I can indeed. I chose an album from George Ezra for our Matthew, and I'm just trying to recall. I think it was Weekend at Tamara's. No, Staying at Tamara's. Very close. Staying at Tamara's.
For a weekend.
There we go, for the weekend. And it was the reason for this was because Dave and I heard the song Paradise constantly on the radio while we were driving around the Black Forest, and just thought, well, Paradise is from this album, so let's choose this for Matthew.
Excellent stuff. And before I ask Matthew, actually, I suspect this album actually is quite a good one for driving around too. I have a feeling. I haven't actually listened to it. I do have his first album, which I enjoyed very much. But nice. Matt, we already knew was a fan of George. He has seen him in concert. So what did you think of the second album, Matt?
I really like it. I really like George Ezra. I really enjoyed this album. But I think the problem I always have with George Ezra is he has some really happy, upbeat, fun songs to sing along to. And then all of a sudden there's a real downer.
Oh, no.
And you're like, oh, I was having fun a minute ago. And now it's like, oh. But I mean, I like those songs too, but like, I feel that sometimes the difference is a bit big. But,
okay.
No, I really enjoy his music, and I do enjoy the upbeat ones a bit more. And they're really catchy, and I know most of the words, which is unusual for me because I'm usually terrible at these things.
That's true.
Do not ask me what any of the songs are called. I have no idea. But yeah, I did see him live in Brussels. Me, Jacob, and all the teenage girls who also like George Ezra and some parents. But no, he was really good. Not as exciting as some other bands I've seen, but yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, well, he's usually the guy who's, because he's a guitarist, a singer-songwriter, guitarist. He just stands there, doesn't he, doing his thing. He's not one for breaking into dance midway through a song. Unlike yourself, Matt, of course, who's always dancing, always throwing some shapes somewhere, of course. So okay. So how many Matts out of 10 did you give this one?
Well, it was quite an easy score. I decided to give it a 10.
Hey!
Hurrah, hurrah. Very nice.
Excellent. Yeah, well, as I said, I haven't heard the second album. I've only got the first album, but I really like the first one, so I'm sure the second one is just as good as well. So, yeah, excellent stuff. You will have made some George Ezra fans out there very happy. In fact, George is going to be very happy because he tunes in every week as well, so he'll be well chuffed. He will be well chuffed. So, I have gone for something completely different.
Uh-oh.
Well, and also, I have to say, I was a little bit sort of influence, because I did actually know that you were leaving before your announcement this evening on the show. So I'm thinking, oh, I've only got a couple of choices left before he leaves. So I've got to get a couple of real good ones in. So I'm going to go all out here. So I am going for an absolute classic. I picked, if I remember rightly, a couple of albums ago, I picked a band who were banned from having their song played. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I picked them. Their record Relax got banned. Well, I've gone even further than that now. I have picked a band whose singles got banned, whose albums got banned, they got banned from appearing in places and all sorts. They upset an awful lot of people, and I am talking about the Sex Pistols.
Of course you are.
And of course, their album, and I know it's not the watershed yet, but I'm going to say it, Never Mind the Bollocks. And this album, it's so of its time. And it was so very much needed and spoke to the youth at the time. In the late 70s, people were just so, or the young people were just so fed up. And it's also it's not just anti-establishment, it's anti-culture and all sorts of stuff, because there was this period, if you listen to the music at the time, it was very disco. And as much as there were some great tunes that came out of that period, it was quite safe. And it needed some bands to come along, and punk came along just at the right time to really mess things up a little bit. And so, yes, I have chosen the Sex Pistols for you. Never Mind the Bollocks. Oh, I said it again.
Okay. Said it again.
Yeah. So this is one for you, Matt, to throw yourself. You're going to have a mush pit in your living room. You may even want to invite some neighbours around because.
Well, I have a lot of alcohol I need to get through.
Well, there you go.
Well, yes, the Sex Pistols, of course, were famously teetotal.
Famously, never did any. No drinks, drugs, or rock and roll for those. Yeah. Nice choice. Yeah.
So I'm going to be really interested to find out what you think of that, because I think it's a Marmite album. You either love it or hate it. So we shall see. So there you go. The Sex Pistols for the final time. Never Mind the Bollocks. So before we move on to this day in history, I think we'll make just a quick announcement about our upcoming photo competition.
Yes, indeed.
It's time for a new photo, and
it's autumn. We need to change. Yes.
That's what it is, Tracy. It is autumn. Whether you like it or not, autumn is here. Christmas is coming. Yeah. And, actually, before I say this, I don't know if anybody out there saw some Christmas pictures that I posted this week. Those who follow me on my business account, they would have seen that I actually went into Cranbrook this week. Went in there looking for shade sales. Didn't find anything, but found some life-size Father Christmases. Or Santas, whatever you want to call them, and there were hundreds of them, all wearing different outfits. You had white ones, blue ones, red ones, green ones, and literally life-size. It was like an army of Santas. It was a little unnerving, I have to say.
Well, to unnerve you even more, I can tell you that it is 100 days until Christmas Day. Thank you to Hugo for letting me know that one. 100 days to the Christmas Day. It's zipping by, I tell you.
It is zipping by.
Yeah, indeed.
Anita's in the house. Good evening, Anita. Nice to have you with us. So, there you go, Anita. 100 days to go. Hope you're getting your Christmas shopping in early. And if you are out and about, Anita, maybe you want to get in on our photo competition. Yeah. So, it's the same as it always is. We need a new photo, a new image to go onto our website and onto our Facebook page. It has to be landscape, not portrait. That's landscape, not portrait. And we want it of the lovely city of Maastricht. Now, you can think outside the box. It doesn't have to be of the river. It doesn't have to be of the city centre, but it does have to be of an area of Maastricht that is quite recognisable, looks gorgeous, as everywhere in the area does, and has an autumnal theme. So
yes, that's key. Think colours, people. Autumnal colours. Browns, reds, oranges, yellows.
Listen to Tracy.
You need listen to me. Auntie Tracy is. But yes, something autumnal to capture the season and bring us into our next photocomp, which will be coming up close to 100 days' time for Christmas.
Yes, it will be. But Tracy is one of the judges, so you need to please her. So when she says she wants autumnal colours, you give her autumnal colours.
Behind me, like something like
very beautiful, very nice example, Matthew.
That is a good example.
The trees up at St. Petersburg, for example. Beautiful. Did you? It's really pretty. Oh, okay.
So get those pictures in. You've got until the 13th of October. That's the 13th of October, which is a Wednesday, the day before we broadcast on the 14th of October. So you've got a few weeks. Get yourself out and about in the city and the surrounding areas, take some lovely pictures, send them in to us, preferably by email, but you can also do it by Messenger, by Instagram, but ideally by email. That would be perfect. The winner will be chosen by the esteemed judging panel of the Maastricht edition, which does include Tracy, and she is quite strict on these things. She says autumnal, she wants autumnal colours. Remember that. And the winner not only gets to be featured on our website and Facebook page, but you also get a goodie bag. Oh, and as our previous winners. Oh, well, our previous winners will tell you the goodie bag is worth it. It really is, because not only do you get some goodies from the Maastricht edition, you also get some from Big Maastricht, you also get from Wyminkel Wick, you've also got some Euler. I mean, there's all kinds of lovely stuff. Hashtag Maastricht. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of nice things in there. So get out there, get clicking, send in your photos. And remember, it has to be landscape, not portrait. That's a landscape, not portrait. Right, I think that was clear. Let's see how many portrait pictures we get in.
Indeed.
And on that note, I think it's probably time for us to have a little bit of a rest, because, yeah, I'm getting a bit of a hot flush coming on here. Here we go. So, time for us to relax, put our feet up, have a glass of wine, chill, because it is time for This Day in History. Yeah, see, we are going to have to replace Matt just because of This Day in History.
Yeah. Okay.
So if there's anyone out there who can do a good This Day in History, send us your voice recording. We'll listen. And maybe you'll be...
We're not replacing Matt for anything else. It's just for This Day in History.
Soundbite.
Just come on. Soundbite for that little piece.
Excellent, excellent. And don't forget, we have got Tanja from Aruna Yoga coming up after the news very shortly. But in the meantime, it is Thursday, the 16th of September, 2021. And on this day in 1620, the Mayflower departs Plymouth. With 102 pilgrims and about 30 crew members for the New World. And in 1847, on this very day, the Birthplace Trust of Shakespeare buys Shakespeare's birthplace in Stratford-upon-Avon.
Ah, lovely.
So there's a whole trust just for the birthplace. They knew in 1847 this was going to be a moneymaker. So they decided to buy it. And sure enough, people by the thousands go there all the time, backwards and forwards down to Stratford-upon-Avon, which in itself is beautiful. Never mind his house, it's very, very lovely there. The following year, in 1848, slavery was abolished in all French territories. And in 1892, the Amsterdam Swimming Club was renamed the Y. That's Y as in letter, not Y as in question.
Why?
Yeah, it was the Y. I do not know why. the why, but it is the why. So if anybody knows why the why, then please do let us know. In 1901, the French painter Paul Gauguin settles in Atuna in the Marquesas Islands. I don't even know where the Marquesas Islands are actually, but it probably is very, very nice. 1906, Douglas Mawson, Edgewood David and Alistair Mackay claim to have discovered the magnetic South Pole in Antarctica. Now, the fact that they said they claim to have discovered, maybe there was a bit of a query. I do not know. But they said they found the magnetic South Pole, maybe because their belts got stuck on it. Sorry.
Maybe.
They're all three still there because they can't leave unless they take their belts off. I can amuse myself.
Right.
In 1913, thousands of women demonstrate for Dutch female suffrage. And in 1953, the first movie in CinemaScope, The Robe, based on the book by Lloyd C. Douglas, and starring Richard Burton and Gene Simmons, was premiered. Now, Richard Burton. Oh, what a voice. What a voice. For those of you of not a certain age, maybe considerably younger than myself, I would urge you at some point to go and watch a Richard Burton film. And maybe even just sit there with your eyes closed, because the voice, oh my God, beautiful. And Welsh, I'll have you know.
I was going to say, that's why he had the voice, all these beautiful Welsh accents. Like,
yeah, tell me, Matt.
It's a bit more Newcastle. Oh dear, I'm getting old.
That is bad.
I know, dear, oh dear. Oh, sorry, Matthew. Sorry, Welsh
That's
people.
okay. I don't really have one either.
No, you don't. But you do know who Richard Burton is, don't you?
I do now. I realised that when I'm confused with Tim Burton. I was like, isn't that the guy who did that Nightmare Before Christmas?
He did.
That's Tim Burton, considerably younger, more American, and doesn't have the lovely Welsh voice. But apart from that, yes, the same guy. In 1966, the Metropolitan Opera House opens in Lincoln Center in New York. Now, there's something I've never done. I've listened to opera, but I've never been to an opera.
Ah. Right.
Tracy, have you?
Well, I've actually sung in an opera, so I guess I win. Well, I did operettas back in my theatre stage school days, so Pirates of Penzance, that kind of thing. Yes. I have also been to an opera once in somewhere in Belgium, I think Antwerp, if I recall. It was La Traviata, if I recall correctly. It was very, very cool. I believe it's again that Marmite theory. You either love opera or you kind of don't. I liked it, but it's certainly an acquired taste.
It is an acquired taste. Yeah. It is an acquired taste. So our Tracy's been in an opera. We need to know more about this. Moving on. Where did that come from? 1975, Papua New Guinea gains independence from Australia. And in 1983, Arnold Schwarzenegger becomes a US citizen.
And later, was he the governor of?
He was.
Or something. He
was.
I know, is he? Yeah.
No, he's not.
He did well for himself.
He did all right, didn't he? 1993, on this very day, Frasier, starring Kelsey Grammer and David Hyde Cross, premieres on NBC. I used to love Frasier. No? Oh.
I watched 1 or 2 episodes. I just don't think I followed it enough to get into it. I mean, so I was watching random episodes. Like, what? I don't get the in jokes. So yes. But didn't they do a remake or something recently with Frasier? That they all got back together.
A reunion, actually. Yes, I believe so. Yes. So I haven't seen that, but yes, I believe so. In 1997, Apple Computer Inc. names co-founder Steve Jobs the interim CEO. And in 1999, the first ever season of Big Brother, the reality show, begins on the Veronica channel in the Netherlands. Yes. You can blame the Dutch for that one. They invented Big Brother and they spread it around the world.
I tell you, I've never seen an episode in any country, but I still don't like it.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, the Dutch have done some magnificent things over the years. They've invented some very worthwhile things, but Big Brother is not one of them. I'm sorry. Oh my God. In 2002, talk show Dr. Phil with Phil McGraw and co-created by Oprah Winfrey debuts on syndicated US TV. I believe that's still going. And in 2015, 700 million malaria cases were prevented in Africa since 2000 in a report by the University of Oxford in Nature Journal. 700 million malaria cases.
Yeah.
That's astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. And finally, I like this one. In 2019, Marvel actor Mark Ruffalo rebuffs the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who compared himself to the Hulk. Boris Johnson forgets that the Hulk only fights for the good of the whole, said Mark Ruffalo. I like Mark Ruffalo. Let's have a look at some birthdays. On this day, 1924, Lauren Bacall, the American actress and singer, named the 20th greatest female star of classic Hollywood cinema, was born in New York. In 1925, B.B. King, the American blues guitarist and singer. 1927, Peter Falk, American actor famous for
Columbo.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Was born in New York. 1948, the English children's writer Julia Donaldson, famous for The Gruffalo, was born in London. Brilliant book, The Gruffalo. 1956, David Copperfield, the magician, was born in New Jersey. And in 1992, Nick Jonas from the
Jonas Brothers.
Hurrah! Was born in Dallas in Texas. And a quick shout out to Irene Tolson, who will be celebrating her birthday tomorrow on the 17th of September with love from Penny and Tony.
Happy birthday, Irene. Happy birthday, Irene.
There you go.
Yay!
Wasn't expecting that one. Happy birthday to anybody who's celebrating a birthday today. Hope you're enjoying it, whatever it is that you're doing. And that was this day in history. Hey, thank you all.
Very nice, very nice.
Thank you very much. So, coming up, we're going to be getting bendy with Tanja from Aruna Yoga. But before we get all bendified with the downward dog, we are going to be having a bit of news, I think, Tracy. Are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
Tracy Taylor with the news.
Yes, thank you, Joe, and good evening, everyone. It's September 16th, and you're watching the Maastricht edition on Facebook Live. First, a look at your weekend weather, and it will remain pretty settled over the coming days with sunny spells and temperatures around 22 degrees. There is a chance of some rain and cloud in the later part of Sunday, however. Moving to your news bulletin for tonight, and Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte and Deputy Hugo de Jonge gave a press conference earlier this week where they announced plans to cease mandatory social distancing regulations. From September 25th, catering and hospitality industries can open at a max capacity again. Proof of being vaccinated, a valid recovery certificate, or a negative test result no more than 24 hours old will still be required. Face masks at airports and on public transport are still mandatory, and the revised advice is to still work from home and only go to the office if necessary. The entire Netherlands will remain red on the European coronavirus map for the coming week. Although the number and percentage of positive tests is falling, it's not yet enough to move to code orange. For the first time since July, hospitals in the Netherlands are treating fewer than 600 people with COVID-19. The patient total was also 12% lower than a week ago. In other news, the Amsterdam District Court has sided with the Federation of Dutch Trade Unions, which argued that Uber's 4,000 drivers in the capital are entitled to workers' rights under local labour laws and should be granted benefits in line with the taxi sector. McDonald's is temporarily bringing its meat substitute burger, the McPlant, to the Netherlands, and it will be available at almost all 250 McDonald's branches in the Netherlands until early November. McDonald's is collaborating with Beyond Meat for the production of the McPlant patty. And Shell plans to build one of the largest biofuel plants in Europe on the site of the Pernis oil refinery in Rotterdam. The Dutch oil and gas giant plans to produce sustainable jet fuel and renewable diesel from waste, which will contribute to Shell's plans to achieve zero net CO2 emissions by 2050. The new plant will cost millions to build and should be operational by 2024. The Holocaust Names Monument will open in Amsterdam this Sunday. 76 years after the Second World War, the names of more than 102,000 Dutch victims of the Holocaust have been brought together. King Willem-Alexander will attend the opening of the monument. In international news tonight, experts are keeping a close watch on a volcano in Spain's Canary Islands, which last erupted 50 years ago after observing an upsurge in seismic activity and magma displacements. Moving to local news, in the American cemetery in Margraten now has its own hymn, a piece of music called Unknown Territory, composed by Mark Putz from Schimmert. The composition will premiere this Sunday during the annual Liberation Concert at the military cemetery. The Zuid-Nederland Philharmonica Orchestra will perform the piece. And lawyer Roger Cox and Vice President of the European Commission Frans Timmermans, both of whom come from Limburg, are on this year's Times Magazine's list for most influential people in the world. The gentlemen share the list with Prince Harry, Elon Musk, Britney Spears, and Joe Biden. Timmermans and Cox have been recognized for their outstanding environmental achievements. And finally tonight, on Tuesday, September 21st, the Maastricht edition will be 4 years old. On behalf of the team, both old and new, we would like to thank you all for your support and interaction over the past number of years. And that's it for tonight. For more local news, you can follow RTV News in English on Facebook and Instagram. If you're a local business, be sure to check out the Support Your Local Business South Limburg Facebook page, a joint initiative between #Maastricht and the Maastricht edition. And if you want to discover concerts, events, and cultural activities going on in Maastricht and the surrounding areas, head on over to maastrichter.com. If a historical walking tour is more your thing, check out Meet Maastricht, the key to your city. And finally, don't forget that you can always find us on the Maastricht Edition Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, on Redbubble, and on Instagram. Up next, we're speaking with the lovely Tanja from Aruna Yoga Maastricht.
Yay, nicely done, Tracy.
Thank you, darling.
Lovely stuff. I just want to say 250 McDonald's restaurants in the Netherlands. That sounds like a lot.
There you go. Well, Maastricht alone has 2 or 3, I think. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, the same here.
Yeah. Indeed. So, but go the Mac plant. So,
well, Beyond Burgers, we've had them and they're very good.
They are very good, actually. I really like them as a kind of non-meat eater myself. And I know that Burger King, the other fast food chain, they already have a sort of fake Whopper, and it's actually really good. So Dave and I ordered in one night, and I was like, "Are you sure I have the right burger? Because this really does taste rather meaty." But really nice to know that you have the option. So that's good.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Okay, well, as Tracy said, yes, we're going to be celebrating our birthday in the coming week, so we'll probably have more about that in next week's show. However, in the meantime, I think it's probably a good idea to get our guest on the show.
I know.
Yeah.
So Tanja from Aruna Yoga, who's our bendy guest this week. We'd like to have at least one bendy guest. There she is. Hello, Tanja. Welcome to the Maastricht edition.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here.
And it looks like we've actually got you in your studio.
Well, actually, this is my online studio at home. So have a look.
Yeah, lovely.
Beautiful.
Well, during Corona, I had to teach from home. And so I made this place in our living room now to the online yoga studio. So I made my YouTube channel here. And actually, like we do now, I taught online and actually managed to have a really nice community together online also during COVID, which was actually really nice to share.
Excellent.
But we're really happy that the real studio is open again. So, but there are classes now, so I couldn't be there. I can just invite you to join us there for a class.
Fantastic. Well, we'll learn more about that in a moment, but let's maybe go back to the beginning and find out how this all started in the first place. How long have you been a yoga teacher, and how long has the studio been going?
Well, actually, I'm a musician, so my whole yoga thing is a bit of out-of-hand hobby, really. So my job originally was as an oboe player in the symphony orchestra in Maastricht.
Oh.
And I always have been doing yoga since my studies, just as a hobby. And I always want to know more about it, getting deeper into it. So that's how I started my yoga teacher training without any idea of becoming a yoga teacher. So, but then you roll into it, and actually Tracy you were one of my first yoga students.
Yes.
And yeah, because if you can do yoga, then people's friends start asking like, hey, could you give me a class and things like that. So, and then in 2015, I bought my own yoga studio, and then it went on a roll really that, I had my own place so I could expand classes, and then I really gave up my job in the orchestra for it, which took time to do, but I'm still freelancing as a musician, which I love. But
that's quite a brave thing to do, though, isn't it? Because you know, my suspicion is if you're an oboe player in an orchestra, you've been training for this for a very long time. This isn't something you just, I'm going to do the oboe this week. I mean, this is something you've done for a very long time, and I would say probably the goal is to be in an orchestra. Yeah.
That's the dream of everyone. So they were looking at me like, "Are you crazy?" when I gave it up. And of course, you'll never get such a job again. So, and what you say is true. I've been working for that, playing the oboe since I was 9, just doing one thing, like sports, like.
Yeah.
And but okay, in Holland, all the culture and everything is just they're cutting down jobs and everything. So I was wondering, am I going to do this until I'm like 67, or do I want to do something else yet? So, and actually kind of went for a roll. So I took a sabbatical year just to try it out, how I would miss it or not miss it, how I would work financially and everything. So, and actually I feel more creative in my yoga studio than I did in the orchestra, because there you are a part of a group of like 60, 70 people, which is great. And I just love the music. I love the oboe and everything, and love doing it together, but still, to be my own boss in my yoga studio and to share it with the people, it's so much closer than in the audience, who is just far away, and you're never going to speak to them really what the concert meant to them. And as in a yoga class, you see the people afterwards, how they appreciate coming there. That's what feels good.
So I just that's really inspiring, actually.
Yeah.
Because last week our guest last week was a life coach, and she was telling us how people really struggle to decide what they want to do with their lives as the students. And I think what you're saying is, do what you really want to do, follow your passion. You may have two, if you're lucky like you were, you had the oboe, your first passion, and then yoga, the second passion. You got to do both, which is really amazing.
Yeah, I've been lucky because it's nice to make from your passion, you make your profession. But it's also kind of dangerous, because you may lose your hobby a bit while it's your profession. And and now the studio kind of expanded because I started teaching, and then came this girl in my class like, I did yoga teacher training too. I was like, hey, you can fill in stepping for me once. And so it kind of rolled, but I never really planned anything of it, which is kind of nice. So, and with the help of lots of people, really, we made it into the studio we have now. So, and I have a really great team of teachers around me now, which I'm really grateful for. And it's just nice to do it together.
Yeah.
And inspire each other too. So
for sure. And you do have a very nice international group of teachers even as well. You know, you have some ladies from Italy, for example, and so you had a lady from Germany, I believe, in the past. So indeed, it's also a nice, a wonderful place for people to go if, for example, they want to do a yoga lesson in English, for example, along with something in Dutch. So you're offering many kinds of yoga disciplines, and also lessons in Dutch and English, which is a lovely resource to have here in the city.
Yeah, thanks. That's what I love too. And of course, the others don't speak Dutch, most of them. So then their class offers in English.
Yeah.
And sometimes somebody joins my classes who does not speak English, and I say, well, you can learn yoga and Dutch at the same time and have a double class.
There you go.
And so that's nice too. But actually, yes, I have a teacher from Germany, from Italy, from America, And of course, in the past 3 years, some teachers have gone because they finished their masters or something, or their PhD, and they left Maastricht. So obviously they stopped teaching. But yeah, it kind of grew. And then Tracy, what you said about the styles of yoga, it's just, I come originally from Hatha yoga, which is kind of calm yoga. I went into this Vinyasa yoga, which is kind of flow yoga, a bit stronger. And now we added Yin yoga to it, which is very restorative, and Ashtanga yoga, which is really powerful, kind of power yoga.
Yeah. Okay, let's get down to the nuts and bolts here. You're talking about all these different yogas, but what is the fundamental practice of yoga? Because we always bring in the downward dog. That's the one everybody knows, even if they've never tried yoga. But what really is yoga about?
Well, actually, yoga is really old, and all those styles you have now is really from the last 15 years. Because before that, you had Hatha yoga, which is the part of yoga for India, which is the part with you do the poses. Yeah. You have other parts with the breathing, and then you have parts devoted to gods in India. It's more the Indian style. But for the poses, what we do, it's about stretching, strengthening, and relaxing. And those three are just so good for your whole health, for your muscles, for your back, really for your well-being. Yeah. So I'm always really proud if men do turn up in my classes and really like it, because they think much more practical, like what can I achieve with it or do with it, what it makes me feel better, instead of the whole more spiritual Zen idea of being enlightened or something. But really for your spine, just a back bend, to forward bend, to side bend, to twist, it's just so good for the muscles around your spine, which makes you feel good, makes your posture feel good. So it's not only about relaxing, really, it's also about strengthening and stretching. Yeah. So in this facing dog, you stretch your back, you train your shoulder muscles. Yeah, that's a great pose. And then like 15-20 years ago, they made all those trendy stuff out of this basic yoga. And actually, Joe, would you start teaching yoga now? Then just call it Joe yoga, and it's fine too. You can you can actually call it anything. And if you go now to a Hatha class or a Vinyasa class with 10 different teachers, you have then 10 different classes.
Wow. I can guarantee you, if I started an online class called Yoga with Joe.
No, call it Joga.
Joga. Oh, Max, that's genius. Right, I'm going to start Joga. But this is going to be a huge hit, because thousands of people are going to tune in just to watch me bend over, because it will be genius, I can assure you. Because once I bend over in one direction, it takes 3 days for me to get into another position.
You need Tanya's classes.
I need to go.
Yes, you need to go.
Yeah, really, because my motto of our studio is yoga is for everyone. Yes. And the oldest woman in my classes, she is 82.
Wow.
And she might be one of my best yogis, because of course she's 82. She's really flexible for 82, but still she's 82, so she doesn't have the strength really. But any pose, she does a variation which suits her body, without any frustration or thinking like, oh, everyone can do it better. And that's yoga about. You create space with every pose, just as it fits for your body. That's the whole thing.
And how do you get started in this? Because look, I make a joke about this, but years ago I used to do yoga and I did it regularly and I loved it. And yes, I was much more flexible and bendy then, for sure. And then life happens and you stop doing it for whatever reason, and these things happen. And to motivate myself to get back into it, I'm probably the same as a lot of other people. So like, oh yeah, I've got that, but where do I start? It's going to hurt. I'm going to pull. I'm going to have muscle ache or whatever. So if you want to start with some simple moves, could you maybe show us some simple moves?
Oh. No, here. Stretch your arms up.
Here we go. Okay, let's do this.
And you interlace your fingers and then move your arms up.
Okay.
And see if you can do it not forward, but really along your ears. And then smile. That's a really important part.
Yes.
I am smiling.
You're not.
And you bend over to the left.
Oh, here we go.
So nice. I feel like I'm back in the studio again.
Back center, lift, release your hands and hands down.
See, how easy was that?
There you go. Now, of course, breathing is something that's quite integral to all this.
Yeah, because you create a space in your body, not just by stretching, but also by breathing. And it's not that you breathe any different than what you breathe normally. You just concentrate on your breath. You just follow the in-breath as you inhale. And you follow the out-breath as you exhale. And what we do mostly during our day, your breath is rather hurried, or you don't really finish your exhale. It's mostly the inhale is always like this, and then the exhale is just half. And then you start inhaling again. So just to 30 seconds to look for your breath, to connect to your breath. Maybe count till 4 when you're breathing.
Now, I think that could be where you start losing people, because then as much as it's important, and I think I remember when I was actually in the zone, as it were, oh my God, this is lovely, this is relaxing, and I felt fantastic afterwards. But when you start talking about focusing on your breath, you can already hear people saying, oh no, what's that all about? I don't get any of that. That's all mumbo jumbo stuff. But it is really, really important, and it does make a difference, doesn't it?
Well, if you have an audition or something, you are going to watch your breath too, as you get it's really the same on stage. Like I was on stage, it's the same. You just need to not to control it, but just to focus on your breath. Get your focus to yourself and not to everything outside. I think any reason people join yoga at our studio is just maybe getting more flexible or whatever, but mostly there's just 1 hour. You're just doing what I say, and there's nothing from the outside world just really bothering. You leave it as it is. You don't have to solve anything. You don't have to empty your mind. I had my arm broken. I had it in the, what's it called? The
cast.
So it was bent like this. So I couldn't do it like this. I only do like this. So I did everything like this, and I told the people, look, okay, I have my arm is just not, and everyone was doing like this. I was like,
oh no,
break your arm. But they redo what I say.
Yeah.
And because of that, you just leave everything as it is. And that's what for me also makes connection with the music, because on stage it just is as it is. You can feel horrible, you can feel great. You can feel greatly prepared, or thinking like, oh my God, the audience can be sitting too close by, or just always too big. But it is as it is, and for that you go. No judgment, just go for it. And that's with yoga too. So actually, of course, I'm not really the type of person who said connect to the earth or to the heavens or something. I'm not like that, because that's what I don't like. But you bring your attention inward towards your breath. Yes.
So are all your classes online, or can people actually come to the studio?
They're both. We do now the hybrid version. So because actually there are many people who still join the classes online, even though the studio is open again since like July. There's so many extra people joined, and also people, whatever reason. First, it of course was COVID, didn't dare to come to the studio even when we were open again. But then people work from home, or they come later at night. The kids are in bed, sleeping, hopefully, but they can still join from home, and whatever happens, they can still walk to their kids or something.
Yeah.
And for us in the studio, it really doesn't bother. We have the webcam, we have a laptop, and people can just join.
Brilliant.
Trains or something, so you can always choose. Also, just before a class to join either in the studio or online. I have this software system where you can book your class online. It's really easy. And
Tracy, what do you do? Are you online, or do you go to the studio?
I like going to the studio for me, because I worry if I'm online that I might just not be disciplined enough to turn that computer on. So I like to go to the studio. I joined Tanya's Hatha yoga class on a Wednesday, and I'm also doing yin yoga on a Sunday morning. But I love the studio. It's such a beautiful space, and there's just this kind of calming vibe when you walk in, and it's really lovely to be there and have that time out. And it's really cool because, the little camera's set up, so the class is online for folks at home. So you're getting exactly the same quality and vibe, but it's a personal choice, or, like Tanya said, what fits with your life. It's all very beautiful. You come along with your mat, you choose which discipline you're interested in, or like Tanya encourages, try one of the other classes, go out your comfort zone, try out Ashtanga, try out Vinyasa or so. And
or
of
yoga.
course, Oh, okay. Yeah. That might need some more work.
Actually, an open house day. Maybe you could join us.
Yes.
It's on Saturday, September 25th.
Oh,
It's
well,
3 o'clock yet, and then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You could prepare something.
Oh, be careful what you wish for, Tanya. So if people do want to get involved,
I really like that people can just try.
Yes, exactly.
That's right. This open house day. Anyway, the trial class at our studio is free always, because it just like the people just that they can just come as easily as possible.
Exactly.
And for this open house day, we have different styles, a bit shorter classes, but on one day with nice bites and drinks with it. So there are actually many people already subscribe for that, because they're curious. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Well, as anybody who tunes into the Maastricht edition regularly knows that the Maastricht edition will go anywhere if there's free food and drink. So we don't care what you expect in return. We'll do the downward dog for a sausage roll. If people want to get more information about this, how do they find out? Is it from a website?
Yeah, well, we're on Facebook. We are on Instagram, Aruna Yoga Maastricht. And the website is www.arunamaastricht with a
dash
in between .nl.
Excellent. Well, we shall put all of your details on our socials after the show. It's been absolutely lovely having you on here today, Tanya. Thank you so much for joining us. We wish you the best of luck with all your upcoming ventures and the open day especially. That sounds like fabulous fun. And of course, you will be seeing Tracy very soon as well.
For upward-facing dog.
Upward-facing dog, yes, maybe. We'll go
that's getting too technical. Thank you so much, Tanya. Take care now.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Ciao.
Bye. Namaste.
Namaste.
Oh, we should have a namaste.
Yes,
let's namaste. At the end of all Tanya's lessons, we do a little bow and we say namaste.
Namaste. There you go. Yeah. Excellent stuff.
Very nice.
Jar, she seems very nice. Very nice.
She's wonderful. And as I can speak personally for people who are, maybe are anxious about trying something new, or maybe who are new in town and are looking to try and find a place to go. It's a very, very warm and lovely space. And Tanya, of course, is a lovely lady, but also the rest of her team. I've met Judith already, who's really nice. And they have a lovely bunch of folks there who are really focused on giving you a good yoga session and, allowing you that kind of time out that we all need these days. So
excellent stuff. Well, I think it's probably time to get in Matt Goes Dutch, because we're coming towards the end of the show. So let's get it on. What have you got for us this week?
Well, you mentioned, Joe, in This Day in History that in 1620 on this day, the Mayflower arrived in the New World. And it's actually Mayflower Day in America. So I decided to talk to you about the Mayflower, and I will reveal why shortly. So it was the Mayflower was the name of the ship that took the Pilgrims from Plymouth in the UK to North America in 1620, and the trip took 10 weeks, carrying 102 passengers and 30 crew, and it landed near Cape Cod in what is now Massachusetts. But what does this have to do with the Netherlands? You may be asking.
What?
Matt,
well,
what has it got to do with the Netherlands?
Well, I'm getting to it. So, despite the fact that most of the Pilgrims were from England, they actually lived in the Netherlands before they made the journey across the Atlantic, because in 1608, Puritan English families fled from England to the Netherlands because they had sort of more religious freedom in the Netherlands, and they weren't going to be prosecuted, or they could worship as they wanted. So they settled in Leiden, which is a lovely city near Amsterdam. If you've not been, it's worth a visit. And they lived in small houses near the Pieterskerk, and they enjoyed lots of different employments. They worked at the university, they had lots of different trades because they were really, educated people. But the people who couldn't find a job because of struggles with the language, or they didn't have the right skills, it sounds familiar if you're an expat in the Netherlands, then the other members of the community who were a bit richer would help them and give them a job on their estate. But then eventually they decided in 1617, right, it's time to leave the Netherlands because the kids are integrating into Dutch society and they're becoming too Dutch, and that we're losing our community. And they also thought the Dutch culture was a bit too liberal. They were a bit more conservative, the Puritans. So they were worried that it would be the end of their community and they'd lose their beliefs. So they thought, right, no, we've got to go somewhere where no one believes, but there is no one else. Well, so they went to They wanted to go to North America where they could do whatever they wanted and have their own community. So they arranged to purchase some land. But there was lots of difficulties with political and religious tensions between the British and the Dutch. So they struggled to find the right land. And eventually in 1620, they found some and made the voyage on the Mayflower. But only the young and strong members of the community were involved in this first crossing on the Mayflower. So the rest of the community was going to follow afterwards if and when they could. So that's the connection between the Netherlands and the Mayflower and the United States. So there you are.
Wonderful.
There you
Very
go.
interesting.
Didn't know that.
And now we know.
Now you know.
That was fun.
And very, very cool. Thank you, Matthew, as always.
You're welcome.
Excellent stuff. Well, yes, we are coming towards the end of the show. So briefly,
Yes.
before Tracy does her titty bitties, a quick reminder, our photo competition,
Yes.
entries to be in by the 13th of October. We want a picture that we can put on our website and on our Facebook page, a new image across the banner at the top there. Autumn is the theme. Tracy, what do we want?
We want colours of autumn, autumnal, and we want it landscape, not portrait.
What is that, Bat?
That's
Landscape,
turn
not portrait.
you this way, not this way.
We cannot stress it enough that we need landscape, not portrait.
It's got to go across the header of the website, so it's got to be landscape. So just, go, yeah. You
Send
can do
it
it.
through on our email, Instagram, Messenger. We would prefer email if possible, but get out there, get clicking, get those pictures in by the 13th. There'll be more about this on our socials, of course, but please, landscape, not portrait. Tracy, titty bitties, if you please.
Yes, indeed. So my Tracy's tasty titty bitties this week is the Bistro Bar Weaker Cabinet. So
nice.
Very nice. I went there for brunch today. They do a very nice Flammkuchen.
What's a Flammkuchen?
Flammkuchen.
And what is that, Tracy, for the uninitiated?
It's kind of like a thin German version of a pizza, I suppose, really. Very tasty. I had the one with mozzarella and pomodori. It was very, very nice. So that's a little tip for you today. I have two titty bitties for you.
Yeah.
Next week, Saturday, the 25th of September, it's all happening on the Frankenstraat in Maastricht.
Okay.
Now, not only in the morning from 9:30 to 1 p.m. is the open house day at Aruna Yoga Maastricht, our lovely Tanja, who was just on the guest. You can still sign up online. You can attend a free yoga class, meet other yogis, meet the teachers, and also have some healthy drinks and snacks. That's in the morning. And then in the afternoon, you just go on the other side of the street to the English bookstore, directly opposite, and they're offering a free concert with Verrassing, who are previous guests on the show.
Fantastic.
And throughout the day, you can enjoy a varied program of different genres at each time slot, 2 p.m., 4 p.m., and 6 p.m. And they promise a musical treat in a delightfully intimate setting. Entrance is also free, so you need to get there on time. So you can have a totally free day on this little stretch of the street in Skarn. So it's wonderful.
Wow.
So there you go, two titty bitties for the 25th of September. So you've been warned well in advance, people.
Fantastic. Oh, well, that's that weekend sorted. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Anita's sending us some love. Thank you very much. We're feeling the love. We are feeling the love. Well, that's it. We've come to the end of the show. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. It was lovely getting bendy with Tanja from Aruna Yoga. And we shall be back again next week. Don't forget, get out there, get clicking, get those autumnal colours captured.
Autumnal.
Autumnal. Well, Tracy wants autumnal, so give her autumnal. And I want landscape, not portrait. So please get those photos in.
We're very demanding here.
We are very demanding. But you're going to get, if you win, you get a goodie bag. And it's a really good goodie bag.
It's a good goodie bag.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We shall see you again next week. Take care. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.